Okay. Had a fair amount of questions on there about these Twilight Zone builds. I realized after watching the video that I put up, I probably didn't give a very good overview of the finality of the projects. Not because I feel like a lot of that stuff gets covered, but then you don't know if people watch everything. So, you know, people are asking me about the sound and different things like that. So I'll just go over it. So as far as the sound goes, that's a pin sound package, and a pin sound package comes with, depending on the game or the title, it can have several sound packages, or it could only be the original, but it's a better sound quality in theory. Not always, but in theory. So Twilight Zone's one of those games where there's a lot of alternate sound packages, and I didn't pick the one that was playing necessarily on the modified game. It's just whatever they had loaded, and it was the first one that came up. Now you can go in there into the coin door diagnostic buttons and play around with them, and I think and change the package to a different one. There'll be several of them loaded on a flash drive, and they're integrated with the shaker motors. So I wanted to make sure I didn't want to play the modded game and the original game with the same thing. It had to have the alternate soundtrack running on the modded game. It would make no sense to present them that way. I wanted to make sure I presented the modified game in the most alternative version possible. So that's pretty much what was going on there, and I actually liked it. I thought it was good. I mean, it sounded fine to me. It's definitely different. There's one or two noises that are almost so high-pitched, though, they're almost annoying. But other than that, it was pretty good. All right, so another thing somebody wanted to know is how to hire me. I'm sure they were joking, but if not, I mean, it's as easy as this. You contact me, you send me a game, and you send me some money. I ain't hard to get along with. And so that's how that goes. Although, I mean, I got plenty of work, so I'm never hurting for work. But, you know, I'm also always receptive. What I'm more receptive to these days than anything else is I like to do something different, but it needs to be in my own way. Because I kind of like to do things either 100% the way they were, because that's a real easy formula to follow, and I can keep up with that all day long. There's not a lot of deviation there. Or I like to do things basically my way. And I know that sounds, you know, kind of shitty, but it's just truthful, because I can do both of those very well. I can do things the way they were supposed to be very well. I can do that all day long, and I can do things my way all day long. And I got a good vision for stuff, and I have a lot of capabilities, and I don't ever take on something in a manner that I can't complete it. I know what my skill set and my capabilities are, and I'll stay in my own lane in order to accomplish those things and put something out there that somebody would be happy with. So that's the main thing. But I also want to say, when I say that, is I'm not on here fucking trying to promote my business or anything like that. That's not what these videos are for. That's just a byproduct of these videos, is all that is. And obviously it's going to lead to people asking about it or wanting it or whatever, and that's cool. I've been doing that for 20 years, you know, quasi promoting my business in such a way, but I give away a lot more than I receive in that regard. So I'm not driven by that. And I think that it's just a matter of just putting this shit on the map some kind of way. That's really what I'm trying to do, because I see a lot of low quality work that gets hyped up as higher quality work than it really is, and I see a lot of shitty products being made, and I just see a lot of things, and I'm like, okay, well, I want to do whatever this is justice. I want to better represent it. And I mean, maybe not on a personal level, because I can be a bit much, I know, but you know, at least as far as the quality of the work and the way things get done and the thought process behind it is important. So there's that. Somebody was asking me about playing games on location. I don't play pinball on location. I don't really leave the house too much. I mean, I'm definitely a homebody. I got everything I need around here, and one thing I realized about life a long time ago is you can go anywhere you want to, but you're always really in the same spot, and that's right up here. I've never seen anything other than what I've ever seen through these eyes. Didn't matter where I was at or where I went or what happened, it was always through these eyes. So that's the space I'm in. I don't care to go out and get into a bunch of shit and deal with all that. But if I do play pinball on location, I'm usually disappointed, that's for sure. And it's because shit don't work. But I don't fault the people that run the barcades or even back in the day, the arcades. They're high maintenance items. I mean, generally speaking, these things are designed to have somebody come through here once or twice a week and empty the cash box and go through the game. It's going to flag errors if it's a more modern game and tell them what's wrong or what to look at, and and fix shit, and then put it back out there, and it's going to work good for a few days, and then it's going to be back to something else. And that's just how pinball kind of is. And I think when we were growing up, we all remember, but back in the day in the arcades, they'd have a service tech come in there, once a week, and you might walk up to something you really were looking forward to playing, and it said out of order because something was wrong with it. And that's just how pinball's always been. These things break, they need maintenance, and operating one or playing one on location's not the best way to do it, unfortunately. And there are some places that try to do a good job and keep their equipment running, but it's not their fault. It's just almost an impossibility. I mean, hell, myself, I can restore a game today and kick it around all day long, and it's fine. And then the next day I can turn it on, and maybe the DMD doesn't cut on all of a sudden, or maybe one of the switches doesn't register, and I gotta go in there and mess with that. It's just the nature of the beast. It's not that you've done anything wrong. It's not that they're doing anything wrong. It's just how it goes. I wish, I try to get out ahead of that as far as I can. And you can watch me work on here all day long. You can see everything that I do, and I tell you my thought process and all, and I'm gonna tell you the truth. Shit happens. Shit happens. I wish I knew how it happened. I wish I knew why it happened. But shit happens. It's just pinball stuff, and it's just how it goes. But we can definitely minimize it if we're smart with how we work and some things like that. But it's still going to be a pinball machine. So pinball on location is not anything I'm interested in playing. And I don't touch it if I'm out there and I see a pinball machine. The only thing I can see when I look at it usually is how dirty it is and whatever I think's wrong with it, just even at a glance cosmetically, let alone if I tried to play it. Another thing that somebody was saying is, I guess people were saying this in a roundabout way, and I have kind of my own thoughts on this, and I'll talk about that. So the modified Twilight Zone, it was kind of nice. I shit on that thing hard all the way because I'm pretty unreceptive, I would say, to a lot of the new stuff because it's not always that well done, and it kind of depends. And so, I hit that thing pretty hard in anticipation of it just being a total eyesore and a nightmare to deal with. And it was a nightmare to deal with, some things about it, but it really didn't turn out to be an eyesore. And I think some of that's because I tried to strategically not, I got the whole box right here. This whole box right here that you see in front of you is full of all the shit I didn't use. I mean, Tina and chrome clocks and Thunderbirds and wooden dolls and fucking street lights and bullshit, And so I had something to do with that, but not everything to do with that. But I try to keep it to a minimum, but at least still give somebody that experience they were looking for. And that experience they were looking for is they wanted something different. And it was something different. And I myself was surprised about. It was kind of fun to play. I kind of enjoyed it. And that camera, I regret putting that camera on there so bad. I almost took it off, but then if I took it off, then I'm like, damn, that's just another thing in the box, But that camera is the worst mod I think I put on there. I totally couldn't see that upper flipper. I couldn't do shit with that upper flipper shot because you don't even know the ball's there. You just see a camera. And so that thing sucked. And the rocket ship. I went through a lot of trouble, you know, getting it to look like the one on the playfield, but for what reason? I mean, it don't do anything. When the ball lands in the rocket kick out, the tail blinks for a minute and it shoots the thing. It's just in the way of the upper flipper on the other side. So basically you got two flipper blockers, I will call them, and made that camera, man, that made it, I had a hell of a time getting that mini playfield put down and in order because of that thing. So those two really sucked. The robot was a pain in the ass. You know, every so often, and I do mean every so often, it might be every, you know, I don't know, every 3 or 4 games or something, but every so often the ball would get stuck on the robot. You know, it would dump out of the diverter and it would land over there in between the robot and the diverter. Not the metal ball. The metal ball won't do that because there's a magnet on the diverter, but the ceramic ball, because it's not magnetic, so it could fly either way if it wanted to. And you know, what am I going to do about it? Not a damn thing. Because what can I do about it? Take the robot off. Take the robot off, that problem's solved. But if you want the robot on there, you might be having the game of your life. It might be the best ball you've ever had in your life, and it gets stuck up there. You know, that's all, what can I do? I mean, what can I do? So that's why I don't like a lot of that stuff. It does make it harder to work on. It does make it hard to predict behaviors where a ball might get stuck or something like that. But yeah, I mean, sometimes it does kind of look cool, but none of those toys. So I think the ultimate Twilight Zone really lies somewhere in between the two that we put up, right? So somewhere in between that really plain Jane, kind of dated, but original and nice. I'm not saying anything bad about it, but definitely that kind of dated version of it, and then that super futuristic version of it with a lot of things that don't belong in there. I think that the ultimate Twilight Zone lies somewhere in between there. I'll tell you the mods I thought were really good and didn't bother me a bit, and I'm a bit of a purist, really. I thought the 86 pixels backboard was great. It's interactive, and yeah, I mean, it's not so flashy that it bothers you. It's just one of those things where when you're playing, it's like, okay, yeah, cool. I just load the gumball machine that's spitting out gumballs on the screen. It looks good. It's interactive. It's well done. It does enhance the gameplay for me. I thought that was good. And I thought that one was good. I thought just in general, the lighting that I used was good. I used all cool white LEDs, and I'm usually a warm white guy, so I'm not into that at all, but it just worked really well on there. It gave it that kind of futuristic look. I thought that was good. And I'm trying to think of what else. I thought the pin sound with the shaker motor wasn't bad at all. I mean, you know, you can turn them off, you can unplug them, you can set them to factory sounds. I mean, they are adaptable, you know, and I'm not talking about just gutting the thing and taking it out of there. I'm talking about as simple as unplug the motor and choose the original sound. You do those two things, boom, you're just right back to a normal Twilight Zone. So, so I think those are pretty good. I'm trying to think if there was anything else. I thought there was maybe one or two other things. I kind of like that little weird wire form. I thought that was good, but it does throw the timing off a little bit, but I could get used to that. It did make it seem a little bit more substantial when it came down that way. I thought that was pretty good. The switchless, the coverless switch brackets, those were pretty good. They make it a little bit hard to deal with, but they look pretty good. They do look good. Color DMD, I think, is never a bad idea. I particularly like the LED version, though. I'm not a big fan of the LCD version, although you can do like I did on there and set it to extra large dots. Gumball lighting is not a bad mod. It is pretty dark back there, and it does help, you know, signify that the gumball machine is you know, in play. What else? Man, I thought there was something else. Oh, yeah, for sure. I thought the interior art blades with the spiral on there, I thought those were pretty good. I like those. It did help brighten up the game. It did make it look a little bit more just bright and colorful, because it is a dim game. Any of these games that they pack with features, you're gonna lose lighting. And I don't need Penn Stadium lighting. I don't need a lot of weird lighting, but those games do traditionally not have a lot of lighting. And so it does help with that. But you know, all those dolls and all that bullshit don't need any of that. The chrome added absolutely no value to that game. It might look good at a glance from the outside, but it added no value. The all the lighted buttons and the lighted speakers and things like that. I mean, they add ambiance to the game, but I don't think it really made it more immersive or anything like that. But yeah, I mean, long and short is I was impressed with the game when I was done. I wasn't ashamed of it. I kind of geared myself up and presented it to where I could just be totally disgusted with it when I was done, because I already kind of knew it wasn't going to be exactly my style. And listen, that's what I'm here for. I really don't give a fuck. I mean that when I tell you that, it's absolutely sincere. I mean, it's as sincere as I can be. I don't give a fuck. And the reason for that is because of this. I'm going to have shit to do no matter what, whether I put it up here or don't put it up here, whether I talk about it or don't talk about it, whether I show it or don't show it. So I don't care what it is that I say or do up here, as long as it's in the realm of what it needs to be, which is, you know, central to these pinball machine restorations. But I'm certainly allowed to have an opinion about something, even if somebody's paying me to do it. And I'm certainly allowed to do as I please if I'm running my own business and taking care of myself, and I have been for a very long time. And so I don't care. There's no downside for me to not give a fuck. You know, there's no what's gonna happen? What's gonna fucking happen if I don't give a fuck? Nothing. Nothing's gonna happen. As long as I do give a fuck about the things that are important, which is doing a good job. I'm gonna do a good job. I promise you, I'm gonna do a good job. That's something you can count on. So anyway, I'm not too worried about that, but I did set the stage for that being a disaster, and it kind of got back at me. Is what I would say. It had its revenge. It was actually not a bad game, and it looked pretty good, and I think it could have been better with a few less mods, but I did everything I could, and like I said, that box is a testament to everything I didn't put on there. Because could you imagine what that thing would look like with all that shit that's in that box, and that box is full? It would be a nightmare. So I was strategic about trying to make somebody what they wanted, but not overdo it. And I think that's pretty much it, other than somebody was asking me about the shadow. I'm not going to capture that on here. I've done shadow on here before, but it was done I used to do these videos in a different way. I mean, I'm never trying to be a fucking pin influencer or a YouTube star or any of that shit. I don't give a fuck about any of that, I promise you. I don't want anything to do with that. As a matter of fact, I like just a nice little low-key existence. But at the same time, I'm doing this work, and I could do it in silence, I could do it privately and nobody would know about it, or I can put it up here. So I feel like it's better, I get more mileage out of it if I put it up here. But it doesn't mean I care about the platform that it's on or monetizing it or any of that shit. It just really means that this is an avenue for me to present the things I'm doing anyway. And so I use it for that purpose. And I try to help people that are doing it themselves, because it's not it doesn't cause me any peril. I'm going to be doing what I'm doing no matter what, and they're going to be doing what they're doing no matter what. So if what I'm doing helps them, then that's good. I'm good with that. I mean, I was going to be doing it anyway. They weren't coming here. They were already trying to figure out how to do it. You know what I mean? Or even if they're a competitor. I put that in quotations because I don't think I got too many of those, honestly. Not from what I've seen over the years. And I know that's conceited, but I don't give a shit. I'm kind of like, that's kind of how I am. You know, you got to have some kind of fucking confidence in yourself and some kind of fucking, you got to have something like that if you're going to set out to do all this shit that I do by myself. I mean, what do you want? You want some guy that wakes up and says, oh, I hope I can get this done, or I might be able to do it, or I think I can do it. Fuck no. You want somebody that's like, yeah, no fucking problem, I handle that. And you're not going to have that kind of attitude if you have any kind of self-doubt or lack of confidence or, whatever. So anyway, you get what you get. That's what I'm telling you as far as I go. But in that regard, I don't care if competitors see this and they do it or whatever. go for it. You go for it. You're never going to get to where I'm at by watching my videos. You're just wasting your time. You might get some ideas, it might help you, but the only way you're going to get to where I'm getting is doing what you see me doing. I'm out here busting my ass fucking with this shit day and night. That's how it's going to get done. And if I was going to be perfectly honest with you, I walked into this shit 20 years ago with a hard-fought skill set that's hard to achieve on your own anyway. So it just, I mean, it don't matter to me, is what I'm trying to tell you. I just want to put it out there for whatever reason. I don't have an agenda. And so that's pretty much it. That's it. Hopefully that closes. I don't know if it does anything I set out to do. What did I set out to do? I set out to, you'll have to tell me if it achieves anything I set out to do. I set out to explain the finality of the Twilight Zone builds, the differences, and I don't know. I get sidetracked. I don't know. That's the kind of shit I do.